go live to Ramallah, where we can speak to Mustafa Barghouti, who's the Secretary General of the political party, the Palestinian National Initiative. Mustafa, good to speak to you. First of all, let's just deal with what's happened at the UN this afternoon. What's your reaction to the vetoing of that American resolution?
Well, the Americans are still maneuvering to support Israel and to prevent a true ceasefire. And that's why their proposal to the Security Council was not satisfying at all, because it did not ask for a complete and immediate ceasefire. It spoke about the imperative of a possibility of a ceasefire if all hostages are released. So, of course, it had to be vetoed, and we thank China and Russia for taking the veto against this American proposal. If the Americans are sincere really about what they say, that they want to see a stop of this all these atrocities, then they should vote for the other proposal, the other resolution that will be presented to the Council by 8 members of the Security Council, and which has also the support of China and Russia. But all we see from the American side is nothing but the fact that they are complicit with the Israeli war crimes, and they are actually participating in them.
Yeah. Although, following that meeting between Antony Blinken and Benjamin Netanyahu, I mean, it was telling that they didn't speak to the media together. Benjamin Netanyahu said, we'll go into Rafah if we have to without the Americans. And then Antony Blinken, separately from that, was warning them not to go in Rafah, warning them about the consequences. So there is that support that you talk about for Israel. It's not as strong as it was.
Sure, but the United States doesn't say that there should be no operation in Rafah. They say it has to be calculated. It has to be adjusted. But they don't negate or refuse the operation in Rafah, in principle. That is the problem. And now Netanyahu is going, is trying now to go and speak to the whole American Congress from behind the back of the American president. And the American president is very weak in front of him. I mean, had it been another country, not Israel, they would have taken immediate measures like sanctioning Israel or at least suspending sending military support to Israel, sending all these bombs that Israel is using to destroy Gaza. But none of that is happening. I think the American position is very weak. I don't trust Blinken. I don't know what he said to Netanyahu. But each time he came here, he gave another green light to Israel to proceed with this terrible atrocity, these war crimes that are happening, including the act of genocide and the clear intention of ethnic cleansing of all of Gaza Strip. What we need now from the whole world community is the immediate imposition of sanctions on Israel to deter it from committing the worst possible massacre that could take place in Rafah if they start their attack.
Given that your party is a political rival to Hamas, do you agree with the Americans that Russia and China should condemn Hamas in a UN resolution?
No, I think before you ask for condemning Hamas, they should condemn the Israeli war crimes, the genocide that the International Court of Justice is discussing now. They keep coming back with positions that are supportive. Sorry?
Could they not condemn both?
What is the issue here? Before we talk about condemnation, we need ceasefire. Why the Americans, the United States of America, does not support an immediate ceasefire so that no more Palestinians or Israelis would die? Why don't they support a ceasefire so that Israeli prisoners who are which they call hostages, will not die? Another attack from Israel on Rafah will eventually kill all Israeli prisoners. Is that what the United States wants? The most important thing now to stop the starvation now, remember there are 700,000 Palestinians starving now in the north of Gaza, including 350,000 children. No aid is getting to them. If we want to save their lives, there has to be immediate ceasefire, immediate supply of humanitarian aid to them. If Israel thinks that they can kill and destroy all the Palestinian people, they are mistaken. Palestinians will resist with everything they can to guarantee the end of this atrocity and their freedom.
And just finally, Antony Blinken has been on this tour of the Middle East this week, also holding talks about what would happen for Gaza long term after potentially any ceasefire. Where do you see your party fitting into that role?
What we call for is immediate establishment of a unified Palestinian leadership. We want unity of all Palestinians. As you know, we are independent from Fatah and Hamas. What we want to see is all parties in the PLO creating a unified Palestinian leadership and then creating a national consensus interim government, a government that is accepted by everybody. I don't think Hamas or other political parties are very much interested in having ministers in such a government, but it has to be a government accepted by everybody, and it has to be interim because we want to have free democratic elections, the same elections that the United States did not support in 2021 and that Israel prevented in 2021. If we had elections then, no single party would have gotten a majority and we would not have seen this war happening.
Really appreciate your time this afternoon. Thank you so much, Mustafa Barghouti, Secretary General of the political party, the Palestinian National Initiative.